We're following breaking news at 5:30. The man who robbed a CVS in Westlake, then crashed his car after fleeing the scene, could be linked to a string of pharmacy robberies in the region. Devon Desnoyers was shot by police at the intersection of Detroit and Crocker Roads just after 9:30 this morning. He later died at St. John's Hospital. Police are investigating whether Desnoyers stole opioids from a number of CVS stores over the past 3 weeks. The officers involved in the shootings have been placed on administrative leave.
An Army veteran turned the tables on a burglar who broke into his Akron home. The homeowner grabbed his gun, then got into a fistfight with the intruder before shooting the man in the ankle. Police later found the man at his home on the same street. He is now facing charges of assault and aggravated burglary.
Hurricane Matthew has dumped what is usually 4 months' worth of rain in parts of North Carolina in just 24 hours. Some rivers in the state are expected to crest today at near record levels. North Carolina's governor said 1,500 people are stranded in one town alone. More than 1 million people are without electric power. Carfentanil, that highly powerful veterinary drug, is in part to blame for 4 recent overdose deaths in Richland County.
That is according to the county coroner. Kristen Volk spoke to police just this afternoon. And Kristen, detectives are very concerned as they start to see more carfentanil in their area.
Yes, that's right, Dawn. Very concerned because it is so incredibly potent. Take, for example, this sugar packet. If you were to replace the sugar with carfentanil in here, police say just a few granules would be fatal. It's a drug that dealers are often hiding in heroin, and detectives admit that this is a problem that they have a hard time getting control of.
In over 20 years here with the police department, this is the worst drug epidemic I've seen.
From heroin to fentanyl to carfentanil. Whatever the drug or the combination, Mansfield Police Lieutenant Joe Patrisky tells me his department is responding to an alarming average of 4 overdoses a day.
The dealers are mixing their heroin with fentanyl just to cut it to make it go a little bit larger, make their supply a little bit larger.
Dealers are also starting to mix heroin with carfentanil, and the consequence is tragic. In the past 2 weeks, the Richland County coroner tells me that 4 overdose deaths have involved this highly dangerous veterinary opiate. The drug's popularity is growing because the high it gives is so powerful, so dealers are lacing heroin with carfentanil. Police say it's a problem where a solution is hard to pinpoint because the addicts are rarely of any help to identify their dealers.
They don't want to cooperate, and so we're kind of dead in the water with that.
No matter how many times they've overdosed, the addicts will often go back to their dealers looking for that next high.
We cannot arrest our way out of it, so here we're pushing the treatment, prevention, along with enforcement.
Police tell me they have arrested just a couple of dealers here in Mansfield in the past few months, but a majority of them go unidentified, which just perpetuates this issue. Live in Mansfield, I'm Kristen Volk, News 5.
Now back to Democracy 2016, and there's no doubt last night's presidential debate is the focus of conversation all over the country tonight.
And it is creating quite the challenge for teachers who are watching and teaching about a race not like anyone in recent history. Tracy Carlos talked to students and teachers today, and they have a lot of questions.
Yeah, Leon, they sure do have a lot of questions, and tonight parents and teachers are trying to figure out how to answer those questions.
Where do you think Ad is going to go?
In Stephanie Graber's 3rd grade class at St. Ambrose School, teaching students about the upcoming presidential election, she told me, has been difficult. The scandals that have surrounded the presidential candidates have produced a lot of questions, but not only about politics, but behavior as well.
They're being mean to each other because they talk when the other's talking.
I think they don't agree on stuff.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump stepped into the spotlight last night, and some of these children were watching and listening.
She heard some of the things that Donald Trump had said that was very politically incorrect and stuff like that. So you do have to touch on it.
But for this Catholic school teacher, some questions proved to be a little too much.
There are some things that are appropriate for 3rd grade, and there are some things that are not. And if they have more questions, they need to ask mom and dad. because there are certain things that we just can't touch on at a school.
Lisa Hominy has 3 children at the school. She has been put on the spot to answer questions about the recently released tapes, focusing on the lewd comments Donald Trump made.
As young as my 4th grader asked what's on there. I mean, he asked specifically, and I just said it's inappropriate content. He is defining it as locker room banter, and I said, but it's something that you'd never want to hear a man say about a woman.
And experts told me that when talking to your small children about this subject, it's best to keep it simple and don't elaborate too much. Live in Cleveland, Tracy Carlos, News 5.
Thank you, Tracy. Well, the temperature's rising in politics, but in our area of the world, the temperature's dropping.
Dropping down, Leon, indeed. 30s tonight, and that has triggered another frost advisory for inland areas. Medina, Wayne, Holmes, Summit, Stark. We've got Geauga, Portage, Southern Ashtabula, Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties, all under the frost advisory overnight tonight for temperatures in the 30s. Frost last night and this morning, more frost tonight and tomorrow morning, and then we'll get a little break for a couple of days. Current temps 64 Akron, 61 in Canton, 59 already in Ashtabula. Your hour-by-hour temps falling down, and in fact by 10 p.m. a lot of spots will already be in the 40s. If you're staying out late under these clear skies and calm winds, make sure you grab that sweater. We got a little warm-up coming our way, though. I'll show you how warm and how long it's going to last before the next round of chill. Coming up, Leon and Dominique.
All right, Mark, thank you. Coming up, all new at 5, a man gets a jump on the Halloween spirit and winds up in handcuffs. The clown craze reached a new level when someone called the police on a man for just wearing a clown mask.
A historic victory for a high school football team in the American Southland. Meet the first female player ever to score a touchdown in Mississippi. We'll run for the story in just a moment. But first, running for the winning lottery numbers. If you can, there they are.
Oh, a little frost on the rooftops this morning in some spots of northern Ohio. This coming from Michael 31G via Facebook. A little frosty roof in Massillon in Stark County. There it is. You're going to see more of that tonight. And you know what? A lot of leaves aren't turning yet, but the maples are beginning to go. The sugar maples are a great shot from Brian Hadley from Brighton Bach Winery in Dover over the weekend. There's a weeping willow, still green. All right, let's see. Cheon Judy, thank you, Mark. Light frost at sunrise in Southington Township this morning. A great shot of a little fog off the water there. More frost tonight, but a little warmer for your Wednesday. More on that coming up.
Welcome back. New at 5, as the creepy clown craze continues to flood the country, a recently purchased Halloween mask opens a world of trouble for a Missouri man. Take a look at this. A 22-year-old was on his way to a Halloween hunt when he made a pit stop at a local grocery store and left his mask on. It was all fun and games inside the store as he shared laughs with customers and employees. But the joke came to a screeching halt minutes later once police pulled him over in the parking lot and eventually arrested him on an outstanding warrant.
As far as I was concerned, it was over with. So last 4 years I've had a warrant out and didn't even know it.
Police want to remind you, if you are going to use a clown theme for Halloween, consider waiting until October 31st. A vigilante adventure for two cousins in Colorado who tried to take justice into their own hands. The Sam's Club parking lot seemed like a safe enough place to meet a complete stranger and confront him about a stolen phone. But things took a dangerous turn for these two men when the thief they were confronting reached for a gun, so the cousins pulled out their tasers.
So as he was racking it, I put my laser on him, towards his face. He looked over and then gave up.
But don't worry, these cousins got the phone back before he took off. A police officer later told the pair they were lucky they did not get shot.
Well, a cross-country runner in Iowa is receiving recognition for helping an opponent during a race. Evan Hansen was among 900 runners competing at a meet in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. During the event, Evan noticed another runner veering off the course, running in a direction away from the cross-country route. Was Adam Todd. He suffers from epilepsy. He was struggling to keep up, so Evan Hansen held back. A fellow runner needed him. Evan grabbed Adam's hand, and the two finished the race side by side.
It was pretty amazing, actually. I kind of pushed him in front of me when he finished. Wanted him to be in front of me because he finished it by himself, I'd like to say.
Competitors? Well, not anymore. Fellow travelers on the cross-country run, I'd say. They did not cross the finish line first, but everyone who saw it agreed they had won on a journey of a different kind. Also, a Mississippi high school football team is still celebrating today after one of its players made history Friday night. Kendall Braylon became the first female football player to score a touchdown in the state of Mississippi. Braylon scored on a 1-yard run in the first quarter of the game. She could not believe what she'd done, well, until her high school teammates swarmed her in the end zone. Touchdown, Kendall Braylon.
Feel awesome. I've been trying to make history ever since I first came down here 3 years ago, even though I've been playing for 9.
Can you run for the Cleveland Browns, my friend?
Yes. Pitch quarterback.
Her team won 61-14.
All right.
Yeah, give her the brown and orange.
Great.
Exactly.
Okay.
Woke up this morning, my husband was craving. He said, Dominique, I need a big cup of hot cocoa. You know? It's that season. It's that time of year now.
It's comfort food season. It's warm biscuits and gravy. It's mashed potatoes.
And you're talking food.
Right? My language.
All right, let's order out.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about what's going on outside. Another live look at Lorraine. The bridge is going down, Leanne. Remember that bridge was up a little bit earlier today?
Yeah, it's going down. That's the way they go, up and down.
It's up and down, and those temps are going to go down as well. Let's zoom on into Boston. It's chilly there. It's currently 58 degrees, but notice they've cleared out. All that rain from what was Hurricane Matthew has moved north and east. But look, we've got frost advisories near Boston all the way across Pennsylvania, New York State, all the way into West Virginia. These are freeze warnings here, frost advisories around it. And oh, look, right into northeast Ohio. We've got counties, a large portion of our viewing area under a frost advisory overnight tonight. Generally, Worcester, Medina, Millersburg, Akron, Canton, Kent, Ravenna, Chardon, Burton, Jefferson, Andover, into Youngstown, and Columbiana County. Notice, Lorain County, Cuyahoga, Lake County, not under the advisory. Ashtabula, just the northern sliver north of Interstate 90, not in the advisory. But that means more cold temps tonight, just like this morning when we had some readings in the 30s here and some widely scattered frost. We'll do it all again overnight tonight. 61 currently Medina, 63 in Cleveland, 64 now in Akron. We've got 61 in Canton. There is Ravenna sitting at 59. Same for Ashtabula, 63 in Mansfield. Now notice a few little clouds are going to try and float in overnight tonight. These rain showers near Omaha, Nebraska are going to slide quickly northeast and avoid us. But tonight it's all about this guy, the Big Blue H. Come on, Big Blue H. There he is, the high pressure in control sitting right on top. It makes the winds very light. The atmosphere does what we call decoupling. Under the high pressure, it means the nearest few hundred feet of air next to the ground, they don't move. So you get the cold air settling in very, very quickly, sinking into those sheltered valleys. So hour by hour, let's watch what happens. This is 7:45, 50s. Ooh, look at this. By 11:30, 43 Worcester, 42 Ravenna, already flirting with 30s, and then there you go. As the sun gets set to rise, we're talking 30s for Worcester, for Canton, for Ravenna. Even Akron should see a low near 38. So widespread frost. 50 or 61 at 6, 58 at 7, and we've got 53 degrees at 9 p.m. This is for the greater Cleveland area. For Akron and Canton, we're down to 50 by 9 p.m. I want to give you a quick look again at the systems. Moving away from us this high, though, will begin to bring us some warm air. I think 60s tomorrow and 70s on Wednesday.
Thank you, Mark. We're following breaking news tonight from Westlake.
A man suspected of robbing a CVS is dead after trying to make a getaway. What we've just learned in the past few minutes about the suspect. A live report next at 6.
She got an outrageous electric bill in the mail, more than $12,000 on the bill. There's just one problem. The owner says it's not her bill, while the company says pay up anyway.
But first, when News 5 at 5 returns, another problem with Galaxy phones. The dire warning the company issued tonight.
Where you want me at, as my wife would say, I want you behind the preposition.
All right, test 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Dominique, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks, Mayor.
I'll be talking about this level. How do you read this trend? In Iowa, a family's home burned to the ground. It was all in a matter of 10 minutes. The fire began in the living room, but with a most unusual starting point, the television remote control. It was tucked down into a couch, now barely recognizable outside. The house is. A 10-year-old girl was walking her dog. She saw smoke pouring out of the windows. She shouted the alarm to her dad and a neighbor. They tried to kick in the door of the burning house, but no one was at home at the time. The men found the door too hot to kick in, so they called the homeowner.
You need to come back. Your house is on fire, and she was a mess when she got here. She was really worried about her dog.
Unfortunately, the homeowner lost her dog in that fire. Still, the fire began by a TV remote control in a couch. They're still investigating, by the way. Samsung is temporarily suspending production of its Galaxy Note 7. The phone is already being investigated for reports that the devices start smoking or catching fire.
Now, several new replacement phones are reportedly doing the exact same thing. Elizabeth Herr has all the details.
From Minnesota,
I have a small indentation from where it happened,
to Kentucky,
look over and my phone's on fire.
Virginia, Texas, and even on a tarmac.
It popped, it sizzled, you could say even. I was scared.
At least 5 owners so far reporting their replacement Samsung Galaxy Note 7s.
I noticed smoke just pouring out of my pocket, pulled the phone out of my pocket, threw it onto the ground where it continued to smoke.
Smoking and igniting.
Pulled it up and I saw smoke and I threw it on the floor.
Just last month, Samsung started a nationwide recall of the Note 7s after reports of nearly 100 devices catching fire. And with claims these recent cases involve the new replacement phones, a Samsung spokesperson told ABC News the company is in the process of temporarily adjusting the Galaxy Note 7 production schedule, adding, "We are working diligently with authorities to resolve the situation."
We are going to be working around the clock to make sure that we can get to the bottom of this.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission, the agency that sanctioned the original recall, now confirms all cases are under review. And pending the outcome of this ongoing investigation, all 4 major cell phone carriers here, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile, well, they say they are no longer selling the replacement Note 7s, instead offering exchanges for a different device. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
That's it for News 5 at 5.
Now let's send it over to Rob and Donita for a look ahead at 6 o'clock.
Well, we're following breaking news out of Westlake tonight where a robbery suspect is dead.
We're learning new information by the minute, how the incident unfolded moments before officers fired their weapons.
And Donald Trump tries to bounce back after those lewd comments he's made about women, where he campaigns tonight. News 5 at 6 begins in 2 minutes.